Lighterman skill times 2, Alex Pereira versus Speed Maxer Tom Aspinall at the White House. It's the fight we all want to see next after Pereira slammed out Lil Ank. This will be one of the biggest fights of all time. Alex Pereira is the biggest name in the UFC right now, one of the greatest fighters of all time. Tom Aspinall is an absolute menace, shortest fight time in UFC history. He basically finishes everyone inside the first round, and they both have one punch knockout power. And Alex Pereira will get the chance to become the first 3 division champion. There's just so much legacy on the line, but enough with the yap. Let's go over the strengths and weaknesses of each fighter, starting off with Alex P. So Alex Pereira's biggest strength is of course his striking, and when you think of his striking, the first thing that comes to your mind is obviously his left hook. He just has stupid power in it, and he's extremely good at setting it up too. Matter of fact, he has crazy power in everything he throws. We just saw that, okay? Then there's also the leg kicks. He probably has the best leg kicks in the game right now. People forget, man, he outkicked the leg kicking merchant Adesanya, and the guy is also extremely technical even if he's unorthodox. Now everyone likes to talk about how if he gets taken down, he's cooked, but luckily for him, he has proven to be a very good defensive wrestler, stopped every single one of Lil Ank's takedowns, but he does have some weaknesses though, and the biggest one is obviously his grappling. And before you say, oh, but you just said he has good takedown defense. Yes, his takedown defense is on point, but have we ever seen him get up from the ground? Like, the guy defends pretty good from what we've seen, but he doesn't really know how to get up to his feet. And on the feet, his biggest weakness are guys with fast hands. That's very clearly the case if you look at the Khalil Roundtree fight and his first fight with Uncle Live. Both had a pretty decent speed advantage and both gave him trouble on the feet. And he's not exactly a Strickland either, he does get hit a decent amount in his fights. Now as for Tom Aspinall, his biggest strength is of course his boxing. He's extremely fast and has very powerful hands. Like, he literally finishes almost everyone he fights in the first round. And he's also very fast in general for a heavyweight. He uses blitzes to move into boxing range, and he also has really slick head movement as well. And if that wasn't enough, the guy can also grapple. He has a background in BJJ and a couple of submissions on his record as well. However, he does have a couple of weaknesses. And the first one is that he doesn't tuck his shin. Like, it's just right there to be hit sometimes. And because he blitzes in with combos, counters which are timed correctly could be really devastating, and he also does rely a lot on movement and speed, so chopping his legs with kicks are also a good way of limiting that. But let's go over the win conditions for each fighter, starting off with Alex Pereira. And Alex Pereira is immediately going to start this fight by investing in leg kicks in order to take away some of Aspinall's speed and movement, and he's also going to want to stand his base, yeah? Because as we saw in the first Uncle Live fight, he doesn't fight too well off the back foot. And I also want to see teeps from Pereira. He doesn't really use them that much, but I think they would work well against someone like Aspinall, who's constantly looking to close the distance into boxing range. And if Aspinall does that, Pereira's going to be looking to time it with a counter as he blitzes in with his untucked chin. Now as for Tom, he's obviously going to want to mix in takedowns, and even if he doesn't get them, he's still instilling the threat of the takedown into Pereira's mind. And he's also going to want to make good use of his speed like he always does, but in this case, it's especially important because Pereira has shown to have a hard time against speed maxers with good boxing like Lil Ank and Roundtree, and he's also going to want to put Pereira on the back foot as Pereira doesn't fight too well when he's being pressured. Now when it comes to this fight, I think a lot of people are getting one thing very wrong, and it's that Aspinall's just too big for Pereira, man. Pereira's a former middleweight, man, and heavyweight's just a completely different level, man. They're monsters. That's at least what Dana White thinks, but let me remind you, time and time again, we see how dog shit the heavyweight division is. Like, the skill difference between light heavyweight and heavyweight is huge. Magomed Ankalaev is more skilled than any fighter at heavyweight, so if Alex P were to move up, I think he's probably gonna be Aspinall's toughest test, aside from like Jailton Almeida maybe. Oh, but he's too small. Okay, sure. The guy walks around at 240 in between his fights, and he looks to be similar in height to Tyson Fury. But yeah, he's too small, man. Was Jon Jones also too small then? Because the guy's listed to be the same height as Pereira. And Dana White specifically said that Alex Pereira was a former middleweight. Like, that would even mean anything. Pereira was probably the biggest middleweight ever, and he's currently the biggest light heavyweight on the roster, so he's definitely gonna be fine when it comes to size. And if you're a Lucas Tracy enthusiast, you should know, size doesn't matter. Like, even my girl says that all the time. Even she knows, and she doesn't even watch MMA. But that's besides the point. Lighter man skill is real, and because Pereira's a former middleweight, that lighter man skill is gonna be doubled. These plotty, out of shape, unathletic, slow, heavyweights have never seen skill like that before. So I don't think it's a hot take to say Pereira would be the toughest matchup for Aspinall. But now that we gotten that out of the way, let's address the idea that Aspinall would just take him down and sub him. And that's just simply an outdated take. Pereira was able to stop every single one of Lil Ank's takedowns, and Ankalaev is a very capable grappler. However, I will say Aspinall is bigger and stronger than Ankalaev, so that of course gives him an advantage when it comes to grappling. And he's also pretty fast when shooting in, but I think the idea that as soon as the fight starts, Tom is just gonna take him down and sub him immediately, man, is pretty silly. This isn't Cyril Gane, okay? Alex P's takedown defense is proven, but my whole point is, this is a very competitive fight, and this is much more complex than heavyweight is just a different game, man. Aspinall will just take him down. It's not that simple. You can't count out Alex Pereira in this fight. Now that said, I think they both have things going for them in the stand-up. Aspinall of course has a speedy boxing and movement, which is going to be very effective against Pereira. However, I will say, Pereira has faced faster guys, like Roundtree for example. There's a very clear difference between Roundtree and Aspinall, and it's that Aspinall just has different power. Like, you can eat a couple from Roundtree, but that's clearly not the case with Tom. And Tom is also obviously a better boxer than Roundtree, but at the same time, Tom has never faced a ladder-man skill striker like Pereira. Pereira has the best leg kicks in the UFC, and I think they will be very useful in this fight when it comes to shutting down Aspinall's movement. Now, all that said, I'm still leaning Aspinall in this fight. Pereira just has too much of an issue with speed maxers, and on top of being fast, Aspinall also has crazy power, so if he catches Pereira clean, he will cause severe damage and probably knock him out. And then he also has the takedowns, and I do believe he could get Pereira to the ground, although that would be very difficult. But he honestly doesn't even need to get the takedowns, because even if he fails them, he will still instill that threat of the takedown into Pereira's mind. And that will unconsciously make him more hesitant on the feet, and if Tom gets Pereira to the ground, Pereira's gonna be in some real trouble as well. And even though Pereira has the leg kicks, he's not going to TKO Aspinall with the leg kicks, and I don't think this fight is going to go to the later rounds if we're being honest. So I really think the most important factor in this fight for Pereira is his skill and his power. Like, Aspinall doesn't tuck his chin at all, and if Alex Pereira can catch Aspinall when he's blitzing in, he will knock him out. And I don't think that's an unlikely outcome. However, based on Pereira's previous fights, I just think that Aspinall is a very bad stylistical matchup for him. Now that said, whether we even get this fight or not depends on if Aspinall can get past Cyril Gane, and I think he will, but even then, the UFC might just pull some bullshit and make Pereira vs Jones instead. I even saw Pereira pushing for the Jones fight, and it was honestly pretty sad to see. But I'm done yapping. Check out my last video. It was about how Alex Pereira gained back his hype. Banger video if I'm allowed to glaze myself, by the way. But anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe for the best yap on MMA YouTube. Am I just a Tom Aspinall glazer, or do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments. And also don't forget to share this to every Alex Pereira fan you know. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.